pain. The number of violinists and violists I hear moaning about how sore they are and how much pain they're in is actually staggeringly high. You should never, ever feel pain when playing your violin or viola, ever. As soon as you do, stop. You can ache. If you've been doing, for example, a lot of full finger exercises, it's possible that you're aching along the side of your hand. That's okay, just give it a bit of rest and that will sort that one out. But actually being in pain itself, you should never, ever be. And if you are, you're clearly doing something wrong and we need to fix that. So the first thing to say is, wherever possible, stand when practicing. Because as soon as you introduce a chair, there are other issues at play. Obviously, if you need the chair, that's fine, of course. So how are we going to stand? Basically, how your body usually stands. Have your feet slightly apart, hip width preferably, just so that you can transfer your weight if you want to whenever you play. Some people obviously have a very curved spine, in which case it's going to look as if they're leaning back to play. Other people are maybe the other way. That's fine. Whatever your body naturally does is important that you do that. So just because you're leaning back to play, it doesn't mean to say that actually you're physically doing that. That is just how your body is. And that is fine. As soon as you start trying to fight against that, so for example, if you think, oh, I'm leaning back too much, I must lean forward, you're going to get severe pain. Your lower back will be sore and vice versa. If you're naturally a little more hunched and you start leaning back, you'll get pain at the bottom of your spine as well. So the first thing, just stand normally and naturally. Shoulders relaxed. You definitely don't want to be lifting them up at all. So standing is really important. Also, bear in mind what you have on your feet. If usually you practice with either socks on or flat shoes, don't suddenly start trying to play with anything with great big heels on, because again, that throws your weight totally differently. You'll end up with back pain. If you need to do a concert and you need to wear a special pair of shoes, practice in those shoes, because obviously where your weight is distributed is very different with those shoes on than without. The next thing to say is, don't just lean on one hip whenever you're playing. If you start leaning on one hip, you'll get pains in your side. So if that's where you're feeling the pain, chances are you're just leaning too heavily on one side. So just redistribute your weight between both feet. Now, once we've talked about how to stand, then the next thing is how to hold the instrument. So the main thing is that you need to feel nice and comfortable and relaxed. You shouldn't be struggling to get your head on the chin rest, and conversely, you shouldn't be leaning down. The shoulder rest is a good thing because that should put you in a good, comfortable position. If you find you're grasping at the chin rest and having to really lift your head, chances are your shoulder rest is just simply too high. If you're doing the opposite, you just need a bit more height there. Now, once you've got that set up so that you're comfortable, because if you're doing either of those things, the back of your neck will be really sore. So if you find you're getting a sore neck, check the height of your shoulder rest. Also, some people get very painful looking red marks on the side of the neck. Sometimes it's caused from the metal and an allergic reaction that you can't do much about other than cover the metal. Other times it's because you're gripping too much. As soon as you grip, you're going to get very tense in that jawline and you'll get a sore neck. So just be very careful of those things. Now, once we've got our instrument up, if you haven't got your shoulder rest correctly adjusted, you're going to start putting your shoulder in the air and pushing your shoulder forward. At that point, you're going to get terrible pains in that upper arm. So if that's where you're experiencing them, it will be in the shoulder. So just relax it and let it sit back down. Also, if you get pains in this inside bit of your arm just there, chances are you're gripping with your thumb way too much, and that pain's probably shooting up into your shoulder, and probably it's still the shoulder issue you've got. So relax your thumb and just let the arm swing underneath, and that should release any tension, any pains you might have. Similarly enough, whenever you're going up high, you've got to be really relaxed. If you grip there, we've already discussed the pain you're going to get there. And then if you're gripping, you're not going to be relaxed in this part, and then you're going to start straining. You'll not be able to open your fingers. Then you'll start getting pains in your wrist. So if that's where you're getting your pains, it's because you're probably gripping absolutely everywhere, especially the thumb, and you're not coming up and over the top nice and loosely whenever you go up high. So if that's the case, just release all pressure on the fingers and the thumb, and that should relieve the wrist. And make sure you're swinging your arm round nice and comfortably and going up over the top. So that sort of deals with your left arm. Now the right arm, often people get pains in the upper arm and the shoulder, and that's usually because the arm is just way too high, and then you're just doing too much pressure on the string in that way. And obviously what you need to do is just lower the shoulder, relax it, and just come down onto the string so that your elbow's just slightly down, and that avoids all that pressing there. Conversely, if you play like that, you're going to get pains in your wrist. The other way, pressing your wrist down, you're going to get terrible pains in your wrist as well, and all these will shoot up to your elbow. So just watch things like that. The next thing to say is, if you have checked all of these things, mainly in your shoulder and your thumb, and you're still getting terrible neck pains, it may well be that you're just clenching your jaw. So what I suggest you do every so often, just lift your head away when you play, if you can, just take it away, just to free up the back of your neck. Also, if you're gritting your teeth, you're not breathing, so that's another thing. Breathe when you play, and that should avoid those pains as well. If necessary, chew gum, and that will relax the whole jawline. If this bit is tight, you're going to get terrible neck ache. So actually, there are loads of things that you can do incorrectly that cause you pain. However, once you identify, first of all, where you're painful, then you know how to fix the problem. And the main thing is, actually, if you look in the mirror, once you've identified what you think you're doing, the mirror will be able to tell you if that is in fact what you're doing wrong or not. So hopefully have a try of all of these things. Just practice leaning forward. You'll feel it in your back, leaning back, shoulder up, any of these things, and you'll feel immediately that it's painful, and then therefore you'll feel the release of pain when you're not doing that. So have a try, and hopefully any future playing you do will be pain-free and enjoyable. Thanks.